All right, everybody, welcome back in. Today's cast is going to be a special one. This is going to be another free-for-all happening on a custom map. This particular custom map was made by Delirus, who you might know from the Discord. And we were testing it out today. I just happened to be around while they were testing it, and I popped in on this lobby. And this is me, I guess, here, algorithm0r in the yellow. Playing the yellow infernal. Let me give you the old zoomy zoom. Ooh, yeah. But before we get into this free-for-all, one of the things I wanted to highlight here is heads up, this map contest is still going on. We have lots of great submissions. It will be going on for another couple weeks, and there will be a tournament in early August where we will play games on the maps that win the contest. If you're a map maker, try and get yourself some access onto that the terrain editor and submit your map on the Discord. But for now, let's get back into this game. I already introduced myself. We have a triple infernal in this game. Over here in the blue, this is going to be Marksman1107. Already expanding out here. Another infernal. This is Zuchi. Also expanding out here. And playing the not very strong Vanguard faction, as Hooboo told us as we started this game. This is hooboo100. And hooboo is spawned in the powerful salmon color. One of the best colors out there, other than the old yellow. And he's building a bunch of racks over here. But wait a second, it looks like there's a little skirmish going on over here, so I've sent my brutes and gaunts over here to harass Marksman a bit. And Marksman has sent his brutes to defend. There is an imp there. And it looks like we're just going to trade a few brutes and such at the front gates. Well, actually, here comes Hooboo with his scouts out, doing what scouts do, they scout. And they're over here trying to chew on some brute legs. And it looks like I'm going to pull a retreat there. And Marksman's certainly stabilized in his base. Zuchi, on the other hand, chilling in his base, got some static D up. And looks like maybe working to move that expand up. I've got some expand happening here, although it looks like I've been working on one base so far. Lots of scouts coming out of Hooboo. He's got a nice little Sim City over here, protecting his natural. And sure enough, we do see that third base going down for Zuchi, but there are dogs coming through here. And the dogs are going to eat some effigies. There's some discussion about the creep guards up here. There's some fire giants up here. I'm not really sure what that's about. You know, this is a custom map. It is a free-for-all map. It is also a custom map, which means you can add whatever kind of cool things you want in there. And it looks like there are some fire giants up on the top here. And Marksman, it looks like, might be going to see what's up about them. I don't know what you do. It's also got a Stormgate looking symbol here, as well as a creep symbol. That's the old creep symbol, but there's a Stormgate underneath. Oh, I missed up here. It looks like Hooboo kicked forward and cleared out Zuchi's third. Where Marksman is fighting the fire giants. And it looks like he's going to get them. But I've sent my forces down to fight in his base. Get an FG, kill some gremlins. And then we're going to get a little battle up here. I love how the yellow color has a good contrast against the blue. It's easy to see whose units. Fire giants come down though to help out Marksman. Marksman lose most of his base units, but the fire giants are big old beefy boys, and they're just kicking some butt. So I guess you beat the fire giants, and then you get the fire giants. Okay, and we've got my weak little army running back. Still haven't expanded. Whereas Hooboo here is already up onto the high ground here with third base. Zuchi also reestablishing that third base, which was taken out earlier. Hooboo's got a real nasty looking force there. And wait a second, what is he doing here? He sent a servo to chop down these trees. I hope there's nothing nefarious there. I hope this is just, hey, I hope, you know, I'm your neighbor. I'm Hooboo. Got any sugar? Well, here he comes for the picnic. No, wait a second. That's a nasty army. Squeezing through there. Popping out. And bye-bye to the first sort of defensive force, the gremlins. And then the imps are all going down here. A few of them try and turn and run away. But no, they're running into the fire. That's the level of control I bring to a match. And at least my units do show up to try and pretend like they could have defended that. And Hooboo retreats. The secret about the free-for-all is even in a situation like that where I was pretty much dead, Hooboo's worried about committing his troops to like kill my whole base when maybe Zuchi or Marksman can swing in and hit him from behind. In a free-for-all, you don't really want to be the most aggressive. You want to be aggressive, but you don't want to be the most aggressive, or you might get backdoored. Marksman's actually building up a nice force here, added a Weaver, also going up to the third base here. And we're seeing units from Zuchi going to the top of the map, while we're also seeing, it looks like, Shroudstones and farms. This is kind of like a campaign mission. We've got 3 Infernals facing off against the... Oh, wait a second. The Vanguard's got some idea and is moving down here to once again put pressure on my base. My army, like I said, was just kind of a pretend army, and it's about to melt. Few brutes left. Imps turn to run away so that they can maybe stay alive. But the Exos are in here, kill the farm. The Imps turn to fight. But no, actually they think better of it and say maybe we should get out of here. Vault goes down. And so is the Greater Shrine here. This is not looking good for your hero. It's alright. I'm sure he'll live to make another Greater Shrine. Actually, Hooboo does pull away, which is nice. And we got more Fire Giant action going on the top of the map. Marksman's camped up out here and is trying to maybe get a giant Fire Giant army. But he does come down the map to fight against the Magmadons of Zuchi. And it looks like the Magmadons beat Fire Giants right now, at least. Weaver's there, lashing down some as well. The 2 bigger Fire Giants on the ramp are doing a good job of playing 300 and fighting off the whole Magmadon force. But they retreat back just as Hooboo also pulls up on the bottom side, and this defensive matrix that Marksman had set up on the top of the map starts to melt to a mutual battle as the Vanguard player and one of the Infernal factions meet at the top. Zuchi comes up again thinking, hey, I'm going to test the waters, but this is now Hooboo's top. He's putting up a base up here. He's got some servos up here dropping a sentry post. And Zuchi's content to retreat back to his third base. And we see Marksman also lining up here. Maybe gonna get aggressive, but wait a second. Hooboo is coming down the ramp on this side. Starts attacking. And that's enough for Marksman maybe to back up again. Farms here, they're doing their job. They're static D and just... But as they go down, of course, you might get supply block. Marksman certainly is feeling that sting right now. And he's army moving back into a defensive position while Hooboo once again putting down more sentry posts up here. This means he's just taking this foothold and turning it into a base. But Zuchi might give him a run for his money. Instead, though, Zuchi is pushing into Marksman's territory, and they're having a little skirmish here. Hooboo's on the high ground. Not clear if Hooboo can actually see or hear that. He could, he might know, hey, I have an opportunity. Marksman's winning this one at the moment. At least Zuchi is retreating back into his base a bit. And we're seeing more Megalodons running to the front line. Are they enough to make a difference? We'll see, but Marksman decides to pull back and re-engage here. Well, wait a second. There is some engagement happening. It looks like I've got a small army here that has pushed up the ramp. I did get this base back up, and Hooboo is definitely establishing a high ground position. 3 flat cannons and a med station, and is trying to position himself well. He's even got helicarriers out. Another battle going on over here between Zuchi and Marksman. Zuchi getting pushed all the way back to his static D and his third. But Hooboo is now pushing forward on Marksman. And Marksman has to come back to defend. Hooboo retreating up the ramp into a nice defensive position there. Trying to do his best to get some damage. Although there's some really highly valuable units in this composition for Marksman that are able to put down good damage. And I've creeped out here again. Find the army of Hooboo and find it to be actually quite a bit larger than mine. As well as helicarriers above, dropping some bombing runs. Then I retreat back to my base. Hooboo, once again, just going back to his little healing matrix up there. Well, we've got more fire giants spawning, and Hooboo's engaging them. Marksman's trying to get on top of them too. But this is a hard position to crack, and we got a few system shocks from Hooboo, who's gonna push forward and start. Ooh, he got some nice stasis drones to capture those Hellborn. They all go down. Nice expensive wins for Hooboo there. He's got a couple of fire giants with his army now. How y'all faring, says Zuch. It's an interesting free-for-all because no one is quite dead yet, and that's maybe because Hooboo hasn't used his force to push out. Hooboo's got more supply than most of us, but he's just camped out on the high ground, dropping some bombing runs now on Marksman. And if this wasn't a free-for-all, if it was a 3 versus 1, we may have stood a chance. But at the moment, this is a really nice composition from Hooboo. He's got tanks on the high ground. He's got flat cannons. He's got a med station. He's got 3 helicarriers. And he's still got room to add a little bit more. And this high ground is definitely a nice defensive position you can put up, especially if you're a Vanguard. They definitely have the tools to do this. That was a really, really crazy bombing run that just cut through a ton of Marksman's army. Zuchi's now our only hope. Help me, Zuchi Wan Kenobi. You're our only hope. He says, okay, I'm not going to attack you. Don't worry, I've got it going down. I've got my meager army here, trying to make something happen. I'm trying to kind of lure Hooboo into something, hoping that maybe my allies, and by that I mean my opponents, might be able to poke in. Huge bombing runs, melting a bunch of stuff over there. Marksman saying he hasn't lost his base in left his base in 10 minutes. Neither has Hooboo either. He just moved his base forward. I'm being persistent over here. I want to try and make Hooboo stay down on the low ground if I can. Almost getting that mech bay. Actually getting the mech bay and running away there. Hooboo chasing me as far down to my low ground there, but not trying to overcommit. Again, his base up here is still well defended almost without the army there. Marksman's got a dragon. Zuchi's got a dragon. I do not have a dragon. I do not have anything. Oh, well, there were some flaming imp attacks. That's what I did have. And sending the rest of my army up here to see if I can get any kind of kill up here. I don't think I'm going to get the base yet. We get a repair going down on it, and that should be enough. That was a last-ditch kind of effort from me to try and put some damage in. Here we go. We got the same thing happening to Hooboo, and this is well played by Zuchi. I like to see this. Good job. Keep it up, my friend. Hooboo over here decides I'm going to go into Marksman then. Zuchi backs up, though. And look at this. Laying waste to Marksman over here. Hooboo finally decides I'm going to pull the trigger. And who am I going to kill? It's Blue. The Blue Infernal first. Moves in. And doing a great job to mow through here. And I think that's going to be a GG from the Infernal factions here. And good job, Hooboo.